Confused about what career to choose? Not quite sure of the range of study and work options compatible with your personality, aptitude and interests? Welcome to Career Cafe for a ringside view of an exciting career each week. Together, we shall explore the pros and cons, the ins and outs, the programs and prospects, all the stuff you need to make an informed and successful career choice. Hi, I'm your host and career guide Parveen Malhotra, and in a slight departure from our usual theme, we are discussing a very hot topic, albeit related to careers, that is preparing for the IIT. With 80% of schoolgoers in India interested in pursuing engineering as a career versus 30% in the US and 20% in UK, is it any wonder that India is set to produce the largest number of engineers in the world? India's software services industry alone recruits 3 lakh people every year. More interestingly, we've closed the gender gap to an all-time low of 14% this year. While 85% of Indian men want to go in for engineering, Indian men are pretty close at an astounding 79%, the highest such number in the world. And when it comes to studying engineering, there's only one name that tops the list. That's the IIT. No wonder the IIT-JEE is considered the Mahabharat of all entrance exams. With lakhs of students targeting a limited number of seats, it's a Mahayuddha out there. And who better to help us navigate this Chakravyuh than Professor R. Trikha, Director and Senior Professor of Mathematics at FIITJEE. An electrical engineer from IIT Kanpur, Professor Trikha started his professional career with the Steel Authority of India Limited, SAIL. Then shifted to Mecon, eventually retiring as Chairman cum MD. Thereafter, he chose to share his experience, knowledge and passion to help students prepare for one of the toughest exams in the world, that is the IIT-JEE Main and Advanced. Welcome to Career Cafe, Professor Trikha. What a pleasure. Absolutely. Now, I know, before we throw the line open to our viewer and the questions come in, let me slide in my questions because I've been dying to ask.
Fine.
Number one, tell me, has the level of difficulty of the IIT-JEE really gone up, say from the time you did your JEE and over the years in absolute terms and relative?
Okay. I appeared in joint entrance examination 1961. Now I will answer by numbers only. At that time, it was really a genuine selection process. Numbers were less, so papers used to be subjective. They will test your depth of concepts, and even English language was there to see that you are able to deliver properly. So when the numbers started increasing, it is mind-boggling. Today it is something close to 15 lakhs who appear in this exam. Now subjective, that format cannot work. So there was a stage at which there were 2 level exam. One was a screening where 20,000 will be selected, and for them after that screening the 20,000 have to have subjective paper. Even that format was done away with, and from 2005 onwards there was a change that we have both the papers objective, but a bouquet of different types of flowers. That means questions are not of the same type. Every year it will change. So level of difficulty, if you ask me, level of difficulty when it was in earlier 60s, it was very, very difficult. I will say level of difficulty, although selection was easy. Now the level of difficulty is not that much, I will say, but it is a process of rejection. So the questions have to be framed in such a way so that the real knowledge, whatever is possible within the framework of type questions is done. So for that they have a different format. They will have multiple choice questions, single answers, multiple choice questions, multi-correct, Then they will have numerical based questions with single digit as answer, where a little subjectivity is also involved. So it's a bouquet of flowers, and there the difficulty level is increasing in another. The type of marking system, which is like last year, it was all negative marks were there for all questions, which has happened first time. So whereas normally there will be some questions with no negative marks, and there will be some questions where negative marks will be there. So that way you can say the level of difficulty can switch this way or that way. But if you ask me, the genuine, very correct way of assessing the difficulty level is to assess the real depth of the knowledge is through subjective questions only.
Only. That's true, but that's not possible.
And that's not possible.
Okay. So if you have any questions, call us quickly. Well, not so quickly, because I need to ask my questions first. But here are the toll-free numbers: 1800-115314 and 011-230-3520. You have them flashing on your screen. So, Professor Saab, now you said 15 lakh people took the exam last year.
Yes.
Now, out of 15 lakh people, how many are serious takers? Because sometimes when you say, oh, I'm competing against 15 lakh people, how will I manage? But actually the serious takers would be relatively smaller, no?
Actually it is, I will put it this way, and the 15 lakhs appear and final number is around 9885. That 9885 also 50% or 50.5% is only general quota.
Yes.
So now you can see that it's a very, very losing game. If you don't have the competitive edge, if you cannot sail over others, you will be left.
Regardless of whether it's 15 lakhs or
15 lakhs, it hardly matters.
Right.
Finally, you know, it counts for the one who makes it, and it is a failure for the one who can't make it.
That is true. So how now, because it has become so competitive, and as you say, the level of difficulty, regardless of whether it's subjective or objective, it is tough. So how soon should a student start even evaluating or assessing his or her capability for heading for the IITs or engineering in general?
You see, normally I will put it this way, that class 11th and 12th syllabi, most of the boards, it is almost JEE and JEE main and JEE advanced syllabus. So as far as the building blocks are concerned, that is same.
Even the advanced?
Even advanced.
Okay.
The syllabus is same. So then what is the difference? Now difference only, you know, students should realize that this exam is in no way different from board exam. The difference is in focus. You should realize that you have to have that competitive edge, so you have to prepare accordingly, number one. Number two, also you should realize it is not the questions are difficult. No, it is not so. Questions are not difficult. The approach has to be different and mindset has to be different.
How?
Now, how it is has to be different. You see, you learn concepts. Let us say you have taken up manual of Ford Icon. You go through it. Go to the car. You want to become an expert driver. So it is the practice which makes you. Here, you learn the concepts in school or through NCERT books or through your board book. Now you have to apply in day-to-day life in the concepts. Now, just bookish knowledge will not do, or cramming of formulas will also not do. Although remembering the formulas of every topic, every chapter is of paramount importance. But now what is needed to crack IIT-JEE is that the deep conceptual understanding, application of those concepts in day-to-day life, and for that you require analytical abilities and reasoning powers, which comes from practice.
So practice is the key.
Practice is the key.
Revision and practice.
Mathematics you can't read as a novel.
Right.
It has to be, I tell my students, even their parents, that when you want to make muscles, you have to lift the weights.
Yes.
So similarly, when you want to crack IIT mathematics problem, you have to solve by yourself. See, suppose you solve a solved problem when you look into. So you should not read in a relaxed mode
like you read
and
a
that
novel.
solution is there and say, wah wah, what a solution. No, that is not the approach. You have to solve the problem yourself, blank everything. And then when you fail to attempt it, lift one by one. So that is the way. So I say success to IIT-JEE is directly proportional to number of problems solved by you.
And on that note, we have our first caller, Vaibhav from Patna. Welcome to Career Cafe, Vaibhav.
Namaskar and very good evening to both of you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you जी. मेरा सवाल है, मैं तो गवर्नमेंट जॉब में हूँ, मेरा भाई 12th में और इस दफा उसने वोट देना है और मैं जानना चाह रहा हूँ कि हमारे बिहार बोर्ड में, क्योंकि मार्किंग स्कीम जो है वो ठीक नहीं है, मार्किंग स्कीम और वो मॉडरेशन ऑफ मार्क्स करते हैं और मार्क्स अच्छे नहीं है 12th बोर्ड एग्जाम में बिहार बोर्ड के स्टूडेंट्स के जी। जहाँ तक मैंने सुना है कि 12th बोर्ड में ये टॉप 20% का मामला आया है, जरा इसके बारे में मुझे क्लैरिटी करें कि ताकि मैं अपने भाई को बता सकूं कि कैसे वो ज्यादा मार्क्स लाना होगा उसे, तो ताकि वो एंट्रेंस एग्जाम में बैठ सके, आईआईटी एंट्रेंस एग्जाम और दूसरे इंजीनियरिंग एंट्रेंस एग्जाम के लिए।
जी 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 डॉक्टर साहब आपने सुना?
Yes, now I'll try to explain it. You see, there are two examinations which are for a IIT aspirant. He has to clear two doors. First is JEE Main, which is a common entrance examination for NITs, IIITs, CFTIs and IITs, and 1,50,000 they select from that, they appear for IIT-JEE Advanced. JEE Advanced. Now there, as far as class 12th is concerned, initially 60% in the board is good enough. Later on it was found that to help the students, because class 11th and 12th is the building block, they should be serious in their 11th and 12th study. It was decided that two approaches will be followed to bring in the necessary seriousness. That class 12th board marks will be added, 40% of normalized marks will be added to JEE main score for effecting the seriousness in class 12th studies. But as far as JEE Advanced is concerned, there is much requirement of addition of marks, but there is another rider that either you should get 75% marks or you should be in top 20 percentile of your respective board.
So आपका board अगर overall uniformly tough marking कर रहे हैं,
so you have to be in top 20 percentile of your board, or 75% absolute marks, whichever is lower. So I think that Vaibhav is achievable. And those marks are not added. It acts as a switch. Either you are in or you are out. Let us say you stand first in whole country in JEE Advanced marks. But if you have not qualified here, if you are not in top 75%, you have not acquired, or you are not in top 20 percentile of your board, you will be rejected.
Point to be noted.
So it acts only as a switch.
Right, right. So, because we are talking of percentile and not percentage, even अगर marking tough है, तो हमें we don't have to worry. I mean, CBSE में somebody may get 98% marks, and in your board you may get 79% marks. But as long as that is uniform, you stand a chance.
Let me explain to him further. Let us say UP board. It is very tough marking is there. But there it doesn't matter, because you have to be in top 20 percentile. If the top percentage is 65, it hardly matters, because you are on that scale.
So we'll take a short break here, but when we return, we'll continue to look at the professional outlook and prospects. So stay right. Welcome back to Career Cafe. We are looking at preparing for the IIT entrances, and with us is Mr. R.L. Trikha, Director and Senior Professor of Mathematics at FIITJEE. So, Dr. Saab, ये बताइए कि there are some students who say कि भाई 12वीं और 11वीं की पढ़ाई करना, उसमें भी अच्छे मार्क्स लाना है बोर्ड एग्जाम में, और साथ साथ में जेईई की तैयारी, ये हमारे से नहीं होती. तो क्या हम इस 11th-12th में स्कूल पर फोकस करें और उसके बाद एक साल ड्रॉप करके कंसर्टेड एफर्ट करें तैयारी एंट्रेंसेस की? तो इसके बारे में आपकी राय क्या होगी?
इसके बारे में मुझे दो राय देनी है बच्चों को।
जी
पहली राय तो ये है कि मे बी इट इज नॉट कमिंग फ्रॉम चिल्ड्रन, इट इज कमिंग फ्रॉम द पेरेंट्स, because parents, you know, they feel that their children are overworked. I tell my students only one thing: if you have 100 things to do, you will find time for doing 100 first. But if you have no work, you are busy always.
right, very true.
This is one.
Yes, work stretches.
Second thing I will say, children have got infinite capacity, which we do not realize. So children, they can, you see, it's a question of only, I will say, well laid out timetable, a little guidance. That's why since it is a game of rejection, children should go to a good coaching institute like FIITJEE, and there, you know, it's a question of how to learn time management. I tell my students that the time when you are traveling in metro or you are traveling in a car even, that is the time when you have to think like Newton and Einstein. That is the time when you have to think how you can solve the problem. So that is your useful time. Don't count time after deducting school hours. Even school hours, instead of wasting time in eating pizza, you can discuss with the students how to solve a problem. So all that is useful time. If you add, time is available. This is one. Second thing is that when I told 11th and 12th is a foundation, on that IIT is made. Same concepts there, which are built, and only you have to learn how to apply the concepts. So there it's a question of learning a little higher things. How to, that means you have to develop the conceptual understanding, deep conceptual and analytical abilities. And I told practice is the only thing to do it. For such students who are failing or who feel they cannot do it, I will mention that Edison, who made bulb after 2000 attempts. So when his junior wanted to leave him, he only told one thing: John, how many are there who know how not to make bulb 2000 times? Absolutely. So similarly, when you are not able to solve a problem, if you get disheartened, you are in a better position than a student who solved it first time. Absolutely. Because maybe in IIT you get a problem where the solution which did not work will work for you. So it's a question of solving the problem from initial principles. That means initially you go for formula based problems which are taught in school. Then you take simpler concepts, simpler problems of the concept which need a little analytical reasoning. Then go for merging of two concepts for in the same chapter. Then go for merging of the concept in two chapters of the same subject. So that way when you advance, you raise your benchmark slowly. Don't attempt 6 feet jump initially.
In your first.
That's why you get disheartened. Because when you start solving a problem which is of higher level, thinking whether I can solve it, you blunder.
Absolutely.
So you have to learn, go in a proper way. As far as taking another attempt, if you are unfortunate due to some circumstances, you are not able to clear in first attempt, and if IIT is really your dream, and you don't want to go to NITs even, where also which is a good, this one is there.
Yes.
But suppose you really want to take a chance, then go for focused and intense preparation second time. But I want to share something, that those who make attempt first time, they have got better chances than those who attempt second time.
Okay. Now on that note, we have yet another caller, Prashant from Maharashtra. Well, sorry to keep you on the line, Prashant, but I hope you've been listening intently. What's your question?
My question is that, sir, means we are belong from poor family, तो मैं मेरे बच्चे को CBSE ICSE पैटर्न से नहीं पढ़ा पाता हूँ.
ठीक है.
तो हम सेमी इंग्लिश से हम हमारी लड़की को पढ़ा रहे हैं. तो उसके बेसिक कंसेप्ट क्लियर होने के बाद मीन्स she can pass that exam.
वो कौन सी क्लास में है अभी?
अभी वो 5th क्लास में है.
बहुत अच्छी. तो तुम्हारे पास बहुत वक्त है. नहीं, वो आपने सवाल सुना कि आर्थिक परिस्थिति ऐसी नहीं है कि बढ़िया स्कूल वगैरह या ट्यूशन्स करवा सकें. तो ऐसी परिस्थिति में कॉन्सेप्ट्स की क्लैरिटी किस तरह से करवाए? अभी तो वो बच्ची 5वीं में.
देखिए, अगर बच्ची 5वीं में है तो देखिए, मैं तो ये बोलता हूँ कि यू स्टार्ट यंग. द अर्लियर यू स्टार्ट द बेटर इट इज. तो उसमें ऐसा है कि मैं आपको, बल्कि आपको सुनकर खुशी होगी कि जो कंसेप्ट स्ट्रेंथन होते हैं बच्चे के, वो जब छोटी उम्र का होता है, देन द चांसेस आर बेटर, बिकॉज यू नो द माइंड इज फ्रेश, there is no ego element is not there, and you understand a concept not subjectively only, you understand from day to day life, you really imbibe the concept in the literal sense. So that is better for you, because then in that case your concepts are getting strengthened in the early age itself, your IQ and EQ are getting strengthened, and then only thing is you should take repeated tests. If you don't take repeated tests, you test yourself. You don't have to do tuition if you can't afford. There is a internet is there. You can take. There are tests are there. You can see your, and you can do the. You can benchmark your this one, and then FIITJEE has got programs like Fortunate 40, where students who cannot afford such education, costly education, we give them amendment. If they show their performance, we take them, and the total total thing is free, including their stay, etc. Fortunate 40 program we have for class 8th and class 10th.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, you know, before I think so many viewers are watching this program and there's so much we have to discuss. Tell us quickly कि अगर किसी का target है IIT specifically तो और engineering general में तो कैसे तैयारी करनी चाहिए?
देखिए, जब IIT की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, suppose even if you wake up late, let us say you have not done it from class 9th. Okay, you join say class 11th. Now the already NCERT or whatever books are there, so foundation is already there. Now you have to learn the way of how to crack IIT-JEE. So for that, either you take the help of a good material, or you join a good coaching, prestigious coaching institute where study material is also available. When you learn in the class, make notes. That is the time when you should make notes, flag the important points, important questions which are tricky, flag them for quick revision at a later date, because let me tell you, for IIT, what you learn on the first day and what you learn on the last day, there is no difference. There is no selective study. As I told you, the questions can be of multi-concepts and everything they check. So that is why it is very important for you to make notes, make and flag your points for quick revision. After that, you should study both all the three subjects P plus C as per a well laid out timetable. When you go near about class 12, when you are busy in board exam, simultaneously you prepare for both, and then when the board exam are there, you can leave thing. Immediately after board exam, go for quick revision. Again, there should be a well laid timetable. And all the three subjects, like just like a auto with 3 tires, cannot take you if one tire is deflated. Pay attention to all the 3 subjects so that you can clear the cutoffs of all the 3 subjects simultaneously. So when you do this, during this you should test self frequently. If you are in a coaching institute, there is no problem, because they will give you for every chapter there will be quizzes, there will be mock tests. You will have feedback sessions, so you will know what are your weaknesses and you will improve upon that.
We have yet another caller, Nikhil from Kota, which is again the capital of coaching for IITs, etc. Sir, welcome, Nikhil. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
निखिल, क्या है सवाल?
मैम
जरा सा टीवी का वॉल्यूम कम कर दो.
यस मैम, मैं अपनी वॉल्यूम कम कर, मैं बोल रहा हूँ जैसे कि मैम
जी.
यस मैम, मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि जैसे कि अब यहाँ पे कोटा में बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूट्स है और ऑल ओवर इंडिया में बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूट्स है
जी.
एक्चुअली मतलब मेरे दोस्त भी कई सजेस्ट करते हैं इस इंस्टीट्यूट में जाओ, इसमें जाओ, तो मैं ये कंसंट्रेट नहीं कर पाता कि कौन से इंस्टीट्यूट में जाऊँ और किस में मतलब ट्राई करूँ.
Tricky question.
Okay, tricky question. Now you see, since I happen to be director of FIITJEE group, but then let me tell you, the background itself is that I am from a different fraternity. I have been 86 years in steel. So my own profession, I switched over to this profession after retiring as CMD only to help children. So there, you know, I will say that don't go by what institutes say. Go by what students have to tell you, those who have received the education. Number one. Number two, proof of pudding is in eating. see the results of different institutes. Some, so you go by the performance of the actual performance of the institute, not by just by the what the institutes have to tell you. So you go for the best institute.
बिल्कुल, स्टूडेंट्स का ओपिनियन लेना, जो वहाँ है उनको पता है वो कितने पानी में है, तो सबसे ज्यादा उनकी सुने, है ना? बिल्कुल. और end of it is about your effort.
Very correct.
End of the day it is
Very
your.
correct. Only the direction is shown.
Yes.
The effort will be yours.
Effort has to be yours. So एक लाइन में अगर आप सक्सेस मंत्रा को सम अप करना चाहे तो क्या क्या कहेंगे? What is the mantra?
एक लाइन में.
अच्छा, चलो 2 लाइन.
नहीं, वो बात ऐसी नहीं है. Because then as soon as
only why I'm because we are running out of time. नहीं तो I would have just loved, and I think our audience would have loved listening to you.
See, then I will say focus, determination, the effort matching your goal, and practice.
Okay. So thank you so much. Really, आपने तो एक सेंटेंस के आधे सेंटेंस में सब कुछ कह डाला. Thank you so much for Career Cafe, Dr.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we wrap up today's show here. Next week on Career Cafe, we'll look at yet another super career. But before that, let me leave you with a thought. In order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. So bye for now and be your best.